The Chinese Grand Prix started with Q1, both Cadillacs, Aston Martins and Williams knocked out, clearly showing that these teams are slower than the movement of tectonic plates. And being completely honest, it is such a shame to see Williams down there, especially with Carlos Sainz, as we all know what he can bring to the field. It was really lovely seeing both Audis back in Q2, and I was excited to see what they could do. Until this. Bortoleto bins it. This ruined Lindblad and Lawson's laps due to a yellow flag, which saw them both out of Q2 along with both Audis, Ocon and Colapinto. An exciting Q3 beckoned in China, and just as we were settling in, George Russell stops in the middle of the track. Now, all I can say is, you can't park there, mate. Both Ferraris look quick again, with Hamilton taking P3 and Leclerc taking P4, but still about 3.5 tenths off the pace of the Mercedes. Red Bull and McLaren both struggled again, and I absolutely hate watching the likes of Verstappen and Piastri struggling, as we know what they can usually deliver as some of the most quality drivers on the grid. Kimi then proceeds to set an absolute rocket ship of a lap for provisional pole. And just when we thought the show was over, George Russell, resurrected from the dead, comes flying around the corner and takes P2. Way! Kimi becomes the youngest pole sitter in the history of the sport, and we love to see it. Now, the sprint race started with Kimi looking like he went ice skating in a pair of Crocs as he got sent back into the pack, and the likes of Norris and Hamilton zoomed past after Russell. We were then treated with an extremely exciting 5 laps involving constant battles between George Russell and Hamilton, swapping positions like when I played my first game of under-6 football. Once George decided enough was enough, he sailed off into the sunset, and Kimi managed to pick up a 10-second time penalty after colliding with Hadjar during his ascension through the field. Leclerc decided that those battles between Hamilton and Russell looked too much fun, and I want some of that. And after an absolutely nail-biting battle, Leclerc moved into P2, pushing Hamilton down to P3. A little later on, just as Antonelli got himself back into P2, Hülkenberg decided that's enough for the day, bringing out the safety car. And everyone went into the pits except for Liam Lawson, who got a bit cheeky and stayed out. After serving his 10-second penalty, Antonelli re-entered the pack only to be overtaken by Piastri before the finish line as the flags went green. That gave Piastri a penalty, and the sprint finished with George Russell taking the victory in front of both Ferraris, Norris in P4, with Antonelli grabbing that P5 position, showing both his skill and the power of his car. Piastri snuck into P6, cheeky Liam Lawson grabbed P7, and Behrman in P8. Now, the Grand Prix started with both McLarens not starting. Yeah. Cars just didn't turn on. Once again, off the line, both Mercedes struggled to get away, and the Ferraris darted through, and poor Max Verstappen looked like he took off with a rusty old shopping trolley, dropping way back into the pack. As if the Cadillacs didn't have enough problems to deal with, the pair of them chose violence on this Sunday and decided to take each other out. Perfect. Hamilton could not hold off the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli for long as he reclaimed P1, inevitably sending the Ferraris into one of the most epic battles you've ever seen. Lap after lap of intense wheel-to-wheel action between Hamilton and Leclerc. It was so good to watch, and Leclerc even said this:
"That is actually quite a fun battle."
We love that. As the two Ferraris fought, Kimi pieced the scene and won the race by about lap 25, all while George watched them fight, only to sneak past them a little later on with absolutely no trouble. Colapinto surprisingly had an amazing day until Ocon ankle tapped him.
I didn't mean it.
Come on, man. Poor Max, as if he wasn't dealing with enough, told to retire the car and end his weekend early. All while Kimi Antonelli takes his first ever Grand Prix win. So happy for him. Followed by George and Hamilton to round out an all-Mercedes podium, with a special mention to Behrman in P5, Gasly in P6, Lawson in P7, and Colapinto in P8, getting himself some well-earned points. Amazing weekend. Bring on Japan.